Everyone, I'd like to present Hidalgo County Judge Richard Cortez.
My dear Hidalgo County citizens, I'm your County Judge Richard Cortez. As a community, we are facing truly challenging times. Our lives have been dramatically altered by an enemy we cannot see. We're surrounded by a danger that threatens the elderly, the sick, and the compromised. For almost 2 months now, we have operated under a public health disaster declaration. Our operations grew increasingly more cautious as we worked to protect our medical resources from being overrun. To date, we have succeeded in slowing the spreading of this virus. We are into week number 8. If you recall, week number 1, 11 people tested positive. And week number 2, 51 tested positive. Week 3, 66 tested positive. Week 4, 70, which was the highest week so far. Then week 5, it went down to 63. Week 6, 42. Last week, it was 36. This week, it looks like it could be under 36. So that's good news. A pandemic has a life cycle pattern. The outbreak, the spreading, the slowdown, then of course, the end. This disease has had many unknown and known consequences that touch things physical, emotional, social, economic, religious, and educational. Therefore, we must learn from this experience in order to prepare us for the future. Many of the things that we took for granted have begun to feel like a distant memory. The small acts of kindness, like a handshake and a hug, are now considered potentially deadly and dangerous. But I'm so proud of you. Many of you in Hidalgo County rose to the occasion. Most of us stayed at home and practiced the necessary precautions that we learned to use soon and come together with physical distance and separation. We started wearing masks and washing our hands. And together, we slowed the spread of COVID-19 in our community to an acceptable level. Friday, we began the cautious task of reopening our state and county. Together, we will define what new normal will look like. You, the people of Hidalgo County, understand what it takes to slow the spread of this virus. We know that the precautions we have taken have been successful in protecting our community. Just look at our numbers and compare them to other areas. However, this has come at a great sacrifice to many. The emergency orders I previously issued constituted an extraordinary action in confronting an extraordinary challenge. Now, most of those restrictions have been lifted because Governor Abbott has started to reopen Texas. We trust in you. you, the citizens of Hidalgo County. Just one person has the power to make a difference by just following simple tasks. We need to remember that this is a shared threat. Our future is a shared existence. The next few weeks will be critical in reestablishing normal activities. Please do not let the sacrifices of our medical professionals, our first responders, even our graduating seniors, and our small business owners go to vain. This is a call to action for everyone's benefit. Don't let your guard down. Hidalgo County, it's up to you to continue to act responsibly by avoiding large gatherings, keeping physical separation, covering your face, washing your hands, sanitizing often touched surfaces, and avoiding unnecessary travel. Soon the governor will let us know when other businesses and other certain gatherings can open. We will have to wait for his announcement. But now, to begin our economic recovery and give financial assistance to our local small businesses and individuals who have been affected by my public health emergency order that started back on March 21st. I will be asking the Commissioner's Court to appropriate as much as the funds that are eligible from the Corona Relief Fund monies to go towards grants to qualified small businesses and individuals in Hidalgo County. This is intended to compensate those businesses and individuals that suffered during this interruptive stage. We're hoping that that amount can get as high as 38 million. I want you to know that we have not yet established the guidelines for the grants. However, they will follow federal requirements. We are soon meeting to decide who would be eligible and how we will administer those grants. So please, don't call us yet. We will let you know very soon when and how to apply. I want to especially thank both Senator Cornyn and Senator Cruz, along with the Representative Vicente Gonzalez, Henry Cuellar, and Filemon Vela for assisting us in procuring those funds. I also want to thank our state senators, Senator Eddie Lucio, Juan Chuy Hinojosa, along with our state representatives, Oscar Longoria, Sergio Munoz Jr., Armando Martinez, Terry Canales, and Bobby Guerra for their support in obtaining necessary state support and resources. Finally, I would like to thank our 4 county commissioners and all our city mayors for their support and for all the work they have done during these past couple of months. By working together, tomorrow will be even better. Thank you, and may God bless us all.
And now we'll take a few questions. I will call out the media entity as they signed on to this virtual press conference. We will unmute you and you have the opportunity to ask your question at that point. We'll begin with Steve Taylor with the Rio Grande Guardian.
Judge, for doing this. I appreciate the opportunity. Let me ask, we interviewed Judge Trevino in Cameron County yesterday on this very subject. He's concerned that with the opening of the economy, that people are letting their guard down. He cited activity at the beach on the island of people not carrying out social distancing, not staying 6 feet apart, some people not wearing the masks. We've also had situations in local Walmarts, etc., where people feel that now that the lockdown has been lifted, that they don't have to be practicing social distancing. As this economy does get opened up at the governor's request and instruction, do you have concerns that a few weeks from now, when the results start to come in, that we might see an uptick? Do you have concerns that the public will not continue to carry out the guidelines that you've set forth?
Steve, thank you very much for that question. Of course, I'm concerned. This press conference was called to have a call to action, and the call to action is this virus is still here. It hasn't left us. The Rio Grande Valley is sandwiched between Mexico and the United States. That causes us unique problems because we have international travelers that come and go to our areas or from our areas. So we're absolutely concerned with that. That's why if you heard what I said today, is you don't need an order to tell you what practices to practice, what precautions to take. We know what's been working. If you don't have to travel, don't travel. If you can cover your face. If you where somebody have physical separation, these things work. And we're creatures of habit. Okay, so let's develop the habits that will keep us from going back to where we were before. I take no pleasure in putting somebody out of business. I take no pleasure in somebody losing their job. But now it's not in my control. Now it's in the control of the people of Hidalgo County, that if they do the things they should do, then we should be okay. Let's learn from this disease and let's learn how to operate in what arguably is going to be a new normal.
Thank you, Steve. We'll now go to Jose with the Progress Times.
Hey, Judge, good afternoon. Good
afternoon.
You said so yourself, they're still concerned with this virus. So with this concern, why reopen?
Well, I don't want to second guess the governor, but I think that we could not stay the way we were for much longer. We started off with 38% of the people that live in Hidalgo County were already in poverty. A lot of the people work from day to day and live from day to day. 30% of the children that we have in Hidalgo County are food insecure. 15% of our senior citizens are food insecure. For us not to be able to go back to work and open our economy would be disastrous. So we're trying to balance the economic needs of our area with the health needs of our area. That's why the message today is we know what we need to do to protect our vulnerable, to protect our elderly, to protect ourselves. Let's do that, and let's see if we can coexist in a healthy environment with also a healthy economic environment. So this is experimental. I mean, we're experimental with something that we haven't done before. The governor said very eloquently that if by the 18th of May, we're going the other way, he's going to go back to some controls. So I think a lot of what's going to happen is going to be up to us. We're in control of ourselves. We're in control of our future. Let's just take those precautions, and I think we're going to be okay.
Thank you, Jose. The next question comes from Dina Arevalo with the Monitor.
Cortez, for your time. Speaking of being in control of our own destiny, how much does it hamstring local efforts to try to continue flattening that curve when we were doing so well? When the governor essentially took away your local control by saying that his executive orders supersede anything that local entities do?
Well, I can only tell you that we're in this together, and I think he's trying to make the best choices he can based on the data and the advisors and the advice that he's getting. I think that if we start going in a different direction, I certainly going to voice my concerns to him, and hopefully all our representatives that represent us we'll voice our concerns to him and hopefully change it. But I hope that's not going to happen. I hope that we're going to continue in the pattern and the trend that we're going now, that it's going to continue to go down. I think we have the warm weather is going to be to our friend. It's not going to be the cure-all, but it's certainly going to help us in limiting the spreading of this virus. But you know, the winter will come here before we know it, and we don't know we're going to have a reoccurrence. So the more we learn to deal with this disease, the more we create good habits to deal with this. I think we ourselves are going to be the best answer to protecting ourselves.
Thank you, Dina. The next question comes from KTLM. The next question is from KTLM. I'm not sure what your name is. You signed on as KTLM. So our final question will come from Christian with Channel 5.
Judge, thank you for taking a moment to speak with us. Can you hear me all right?
Yes, I can, Christian.
I just wanted to get a status on the known infection rate and what tools, the availability of tools we have to be aware of the infection rate. So that would include coronavirus tests and or antibody tests.
Okay, well, I'm going to tell you what I know. I think that question would be best directed of our health director, Mr. Eddie Olivares. But as you know, most of the testing has been done by private clinics and physicians. Public's testing has been limited. We've tested over 5,000 people. But as you know, a lot of the people that have been tested were asymptomatic. So a lot of times we don't know what it is. But what we do know is that it takes about within 14 days, if you are sick from it, it's going to start showing. So one of the things that I was doing as I was monitoring this process here, I was paying attention to how many people were going to the doctors, how many people were going to the hospital, how many people were staying in the hospital. But right now, our testing is starting to escalate. The west part of our county is testing more. The east side of our county is testing more. The University of RGV is testing more. And it seems that there is a pattern that the same amount of negative tests and positive tests are coming out. So we're hopeful that even though we're going to expand in our testing, the positive test ratio is still going to continue to be low.
Thank you for your question, Christian. And that will conclude today's press conference. For those who have inquired, there will be a video recording of this press conference, and there will also be a Spanish language overdub of this press conference. Again, thank you for joining us, and this concludes today's press conference.